Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Stephen Kimongo. I'm a leadership coach, certified leadership coach. I'm also a certified mediator. And I'm a member of Kenya Institute of Management, full member. And I'm here for some short leadership thoughts, which I want to deliver to you today. And I want to start off with a small story about a gentleman that was traveling, actually an officer who was traveling with his general, and it was the World War I, and they're using the trains to get to their destination. So it happens that seated across the other side, they were seated together with the general, the commander. And so the young soldier, the commander, and then on the other side is a beautiful lady, very beautiful young lady with her grandmother. They were traveling towards the same destination. And so the story goes like this, that they came across a place where there was a cave. You know, these tunnels where trains go through. And you can imagine that time there was no proper lighting. So when it gets there, of course, it gets dark. Now, two things were heard in the darkness. The first one was a slap. The second one was a kiss. And everybody was left with a question. So who was slapped and who was kissed? And at that moment, when the train left the tunnel on the other side, everybody was having their own imaginations. But then there's one person amongst the four that knew the truth of what had happened. And I can only imagine what you're imagining. But let me tell you something. The grandmother was happy that whoever kissed the granddaughter was slapped. The granddaughter was happy that somebody kissed her, but she wondered who was slapped. The general was wondering who slapped him and who was kissed. Actually, the guy who knew the truth was the young man. At that time when he got into the tunnel and it was dark, for those few seconds, he knew that it was his opportunity and he seized it at that moment. And he decided, this is my time to kiss the girl, and slapped my general. And at that moment, he took advantage of that opportunity. And for him, it is him only who knew the answer of what had actually happened. The reason for the slap and the reason for the kiss. And I'm here to ask you, do you know the reason for leadership? For your leadership? Because all of us are leaders. Wherever you are, you're a leader. In your home, you're a leader. In your life, you're a leader. By the way, until you can be able to lead yourself, you cannot be able to lead anybody else. You must be able first to lead yourself so that you can lead anybody else. People come into leadership for different reasons. They come into leadership for retribution. There are people who come to lead because they want to revenge, you know. There are those who come into leadership because they want privileges that come with leadership. There are those who come into leadership because they want, you know, what else can you imagine? Forget about what I've written there, you know. What else can you imagine makes people come into leadership? Yeah? What? My brother, Saja. Influence. Thank you. It's like you've read my next slide. And you say? For the power, I'm telling you. That is why people come into leadership. But do you know why you're supposed to come into leadership actually? Do you know the real reason why you should come into leadership? Everybody read those last two words. Everybody read those last two words down there. Stroke what? You are supposed to come into leadership because you want to inspire and because you want to influence. The best definition of leadership is actually influence, according to John Maxwell. The best definition of leadership is influence. And I don't know, as we sit here today, do you know your why of whatever you pursue in your life, of whatever you believe in your life? Because until you can be able to pick the why of your leadership, then it becomes useless. Let me show you something. Why is greater than how, and it is greater than what. If you are a leader in an area of your life, in an area of your community, like Tuboreshe Pamoja is a leader, and I'm sure you can see one of their focus areas. Actually, the first one is leadership and governance. And that is where I come in. That is where some of us come in. The leadership and governance part. If you are a leader in your community, if you are an influencer in your community, actually, do you understand how you are supposed to touch lives? Because why is greater than what. If your what is greater than your why, you are using manipulation. People that use why, how, what, they touch lives using inspiration. They actually inspire. Oh, thank you. Thank you. KDK 855X, KBQ 722K, KAZ 069L. Kindly give way. Give way, please. Thank you very much. Give way, please. Thank you very much. So, I was trying to say, if you use your why and how and what to influence, to touch lives, then you are actually inspiring. But if you use it the other way around, if you go the other way around, if you start with your what, then go to your how, and then go to your why, you are manipulating people. And I want to ask you a question. What guides you every day? Is your why greater than your what in your everyday life? Read with me the first sentence. Everybody, if you can see it, please. Let's read together. Your why. The bold part. I want everybody to read the bold part very loudly. Know it. Actually, you will never know how to achieve it if you don't know your why. If you don't know your strength, you don't know what you believe in, you don't know it. So you'll never know when you reach. It's like they say, if you don't have anything to do with your life and you're walking through a path, any way leads to anywhere. It leads to your destination. So do you find your why? Can you tell your why? As a young person, as somebody in the corporate sector, can you be able to pick your why? Do you know why you exist? Do you know your purpose? Do you know what you believe in? As a leader, how do you want to inspire people? Do you know it? Do you have an idea? Then the next, if you start asking the right questions, then people will start following you because they want to, not because they have to. You have to clap there. That's a very nice one. That's a very nice one. Please clap for me that one. If you follow people, you start asking the right questions, people will start following you because you inspire them. You inspire hope. You inspire belief. And your why is so powerful. They want to be associated with it. There's something called the power of association. If somebody has a big dream and you associate yourselves with them, you also feel big. It is very important for you to know your why. Very important for you to know your why, so that you can amplify your source of inspiration. The last statement, I want us to read it again together. Everybody, let's go. People, who said it? Simon Sinek. He has written a very beautiful book that says start with your why. So if you know your why, and you know very well why you do what you do, people don't buy into what you do. They actually buy into why you do it. Let me give you a story, a very short story. I know everybody knows the Wright brothers, isn't it? Do you know the Wright brothers had a competitor? A gentleman that was well given money, he had everything, he had the media, everybody was zooming in on him. He had all what it takes to get that plane off the ground. At least something, a flying machine. He had the money. I don't know whether anybody ever reads him in the history. He's called Piedmont Langley. That fellow had everything that he needed. The dollars were with him. The Wright brothers were only using proceeds from their bicycle shop to be able to provide themselves with something that is flying. They were actually trying. But something they knew is that their why was very strong. They believed what they had in their hearts. They were not moved by fame. It was not the fame they were looking for. They were looking to make a difference. They were looking to make, even without money, even without resources, because their why was very strong in them. It is not their what that mattered. But for this other gentleman, it is their what. He wanted the fame. He wanted the name. He wanted the Guinness Book of Records. He wanted to be known. Actually, today we don't even know him. But everybody talks about the right brothers. Are we flying today or are we not flying? But who started the flying? It's the right brothers. Those are the people we read in history. The rest are failures. Ask your neighbor, do you know your why? Ask them, just ask them nicely. You know, it's good. Even if we are speaking, about leadership, ask them, do you know your why? Do you know why you exist? Do you know why you are a leader? Do you know your why? Can you be able to put it on paper? It's very important for a young person to be able to define their why. And one of the most biggest disadvantages we have is people who know their why, their what, they always produce paycheck followers. Now that is where I have a problem. It feels painful, Madam Director, and all the guests that are seated here. It's very painful that everybody that follows you wants to be paid to follow you. How expensive is that? As opposed to people that are following you as a leader because they want to. They can kill for you. They have a passion. It's because you gave them your why. You didn't give them your what. Am I making a point? Because the difference between the two leaders is like heaven and earth. Paycheck followers are the people like those ones that used to follow Jesus for bread. For those who read the Bible. If there is no bread, we are not following. But if there is bread, we are following. These are the kind of people, the paycheck people, are the kind of people that can't go beyond 5. If it is 5, they are holding the clock. Like those guys who fast with food in front of them. Ikifika saa 11 ametoka. Even if it's a job that needs an extra 15 minutes. There is no extra in them. It is what is written on paper or nothing. I think we need to get to that level as leaders, as young people, as mentors of young people, that we start to inspire with our whys. We start to inspire not with our what, not with our how, but with our why. The what people are the people that will come and tell you, do you know my title? Do you know the kind of car I drive? Do you know the estate I stay in? But the why can even be somebody from nowhere. But whenever they speak to you, you get inspired. I wish Mary was seated here, and I'm sure she will be coming to tell us the kind of inspiration that brought out Tuboreshe Pamoja. You will be able to know why we are seated here. And probably that is something that you need to buy into. But definitely you need to find your why. I almost said amen. John Maxwell asks a question. And I want you to ask that question to yourself and to your neighbor. Everybody, what's the question? Hey, don't get afraid. Just ask the question. It doesn't mean you're affected, yeah? Just ask the question. What is John Maxwell asking us? If you ever needed a leader, if you ever needed to be inspired, would you follow you? The kind of life you live, whatever you do, would you ever even think of following you? And I think it is time for self-discovery. It is time to actually find the reason why you exist. And that's why we are insisting your why is very important. Now, at Stephen Kimongo Corporate Coaching, we are able to do that for you. We are able to give you your identity. We are able to find you who you are through Maxwell Disc personality profile. We are able to bring in that to you. We are able to take you through an assessment. We are able to coach you. We are able to teach you who you are. The minute you start to understand who you are is the minute you start to find your why. We are also able to take you through the 360 leadership circle. That is something that you can be able to develop yourself and grow yourself for at least 6 months. That program takes about 6 months. And you become somebody completely different out of the person that you were in. Are you ready to discover yourself? Are you ready to find your why? Please look for us. We can be able to get in touch. You can be able to get in touch with us. We can be able to take you through it. You will actually enjoy. The first time I discovered myself, the ahs and the wows and the ohs were too many. I didn't know I was that kind of a person until I went through some of these things. And it's important for us to go professional. So please, if you have the time, if you find time, please reach out to us. We'll be able to take you through it. We'll be able to take you through your personality. We'll be able to take you through your leadership coaching. And for 6 months, you'll be a very different person. You won't believe who you have become. This is what John Maxwell says as I finish. John Maxwell says this. I'm a student of his. I'm certified by John Maxwell. This is what he says. You have to find yourself to be yourself. You have to be yourself to grow yourself. And you have to grow yourself to overcome yourself. And you have to overcome yourself to give yourself to others in service. Can I repeat that? You have to find yourself to be yourself. And you have to be yourself to grow yourself. You have to grow yourself to overcome yourself. And you have to overcome yourself to give yourself to others. There is no way you can be able to serve people if you are full of yourself. That is why I started by asking you, can you follow you? And if you cannot, why? We can take care of those questions when you come to our coaching. God bless you. Have a wonderful time, and thank you so much.